And we're live.
Yay.
3, 2, 1. Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Last Mark Standing podcast with your host, Damian Salty G, and making her triumphant return after much gallivanting around the universe and around the world, the one, the only, the Marky Smark known as Trina.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back, partner. We missed you, but we've got a lot to talk about. And for those that don't know, it may not be totally wrestling related. So spoilers, you might get a little therapy session out the deal this time around. If anyone listened to my episode earlier this week, the theme was, what the hell are we doing here? When it comes to the show, the future of the show, what we take from this as wrestling fans, because Trina and I, while separated, have gone through a rather similar journey on our way back to Last Mark Standing. And again, you can find the show at Last Mark Podcast, lastmarkstanding.com for all your one-stop Last Mark Standing needs. Trina, I don't know if you listened to Monday's show. I don't know if you heard it. I know I tried to get you to listen to it, but did you listen to it at all?
I'm not caught up on anything, because I listened to the last two that you did, like leading up to the pay-per-view, and just the most recent one is the only one I missed. But I haven't caught up on any like wrestling, like Raw or like SmackDown. So you're on the list of like things to do.
I just made the list.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me refresh Trina's memory here. I pretty much confided in our audience that I didn't know what I was doing here anymore. I've dealt with a lot of personal setbacks since we last were on air together. For those that do know and don't know, I've thrown my name out there for broadcasting gigs that aren't of, just what we do here variety. It's more of a network-based variety. And I am 0 for 23 or so in the last 2 weeks. And I took it on the chin. It was rather difficult for me to deal with. Add to the fact that, again, full disclosure, I was off my meds for about a week, just because I said to hell with it. I'm not taking them, and that's the end of that. And all of you all know out there that my birthday was last Thursday, and I didn't really get a chance to celebrate it because I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling celebrating my birthday because as a wrestling fan, I felt lost. As a sports fan, I felt lost. As a broadcaster, I felt even more lost and confused and unappreciated, undervalued. And to quote television, I was mad as hell and I wasn't going to take it anymore. But after going to, and I'm just going to say this once, we're not going to delve into too much indie talk. After going to Evolve this past weekend, I've managed to be myself again, because I was around so many like-minded people in terms of wrestling, in terms of wrestling fandom. The energy I fed off of with everyone, from Papa Hales to everyone I met. Rad Pitt was there. Rambo Apocalypse, Rad Pitt was there.
Oh, really? Oh my God, I've not met him yet.
Yes, a lot taller in person. He's like 6 feet tall, and I told him that you're a lot taller than I thought you'd be. Right. So that was cool. And, I was, a couple of people recognized me and took pictures with me. So that's always fun and embarrassing. And, it just felt nice. It felt nice to be able to watch. I mean, the matches were great. I mean, Chris Hero, Matt Riddle, Tony Nese, All Ego. I love that guy. That guy, All Ego, is just my spirit animal, just because.
He's a character, right?
Yeah, man. And then he comes to the ring with these two, I want to say, bodyguards, and they look like they just came out of an Express catalog. Right. That's how well dressed they were, to the point where I asked one of them where he got his tie, and he was like, "Oh, I got it for $2 at some bootleg store," which I found funny.
Off the street.
But the highlight was meeting Papa Hales, and I gave him our tissues, he gave me his shirt. It was nice to meet him. He's a big fan of yours. He's a big fan of us. And I was very honored that he would take a picture with me and he was very cordial to fans. And then a couple of people walked up to me and said, "Who was that?" And I had to school them. I had to school them. I said, "That's the Don of the South. If you don't know who Papa Hales is, you need to educate yourself."
Right.
But I digress. Being in that realm just made me so energized. And when I started my broadcast on Monday, it started off as a person who was going to quit the show. I told you this. I was about 10 minutes from quitting the show and just saying, to hell with this. I don't want to do this anymore. But as I kept talking and kept thinking about our fans and our friends, who reach out to us on a constant, the freelance Mikeys, the Mimis, the Christies, Smart Infested, Wrestling Sexism, Mass Fans, so on and so forth, Jimmy Omega, just they were the reason that I wanted to keep going. People like, the Bear Hug It Out podcast, people like Matt Men, Heel Town, those guys and girls, like those are the people I love to do this for. Girl Talk with Gabby, the Fans podcast, all those people. Like I love and appreciate everything that they all bring to the table because we all bring something to said table. You bring something, I bring something. So that's where I was. That I was at the quote unquote crossroads, pun unintended, of being a show host. I was prepared to walk away from broadcasting and look for lucrative jobs in human service and program directors and consultants for psychology programs. But I said, no, I can't do that because I'd be selling myself short. I'd be selling our fans short. I'd be selling our friends all over who support Last Mark Standing short. So here I am doing a second show for the week. And, we're back in the saddle, as I said, and I have you again. And we're back. The team is back. We're whole. But you have your own story. You have your own cross to bear and your own crux with everything that we've been doing. So I want you to illuminate for the audience what it is that you are feeling within yourself while we record today's episode. So go ahead. Floor is yours.
Right. So, I mean, if you've been with us for a while, we've brought it up every once in a while, but obviously, both Damian and I deal with anxiety, depression, all that sort of stuff. And sometimes it can just be hard, and it's like flipping a switch because I just got back from vacation this week. And I was super gung ho about getting back into things and updating the podcast and all this different stuff. Monday and Tuesday were fantastic. And it's just this morning, like, I don't know what it was, just, a different feeling. It just really didn't feel the same. I was just thinking, why am I doing this pretty much? What is the point of all of this? This is something that I ask myself all the time. And so it's like, today was just not a great day. It was one of the bad days. And it's like, things can happen so quickly, because if like today I was like, we're not going to do this anymore. I go like put resumes in or whatever. I could be working like tomorrow or Friday or Monday or whatever. And like suddenly all my time's gone and I'm not doing this anymore. You saw, I've been gone for the last 4 weeks. Like it's easier to disconnect than I thought it was going to be. And, I definitely missed it while I was gone. I didn't miss days like this, like where it just like hits you like a ton of bricks. And suddenly you have like no purpose. It's really weird, especially coming from the day before where everything was fine. Just happens like this sometimes. Like you wake up and everything's a little different.
So what exactly, if you can put it into words or you can even name it at all, what's the trigger? Because, that's the word the kids use today. So what triggered you, if you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. I actually, like this time around, I don't know what it is. Like sometimes it's easy to be like, to pinpoint what it is, but that's the thing with, anxiety or depression. Like you can't ever know like what's going to trigger you until it's like already happened. So and so I woke up this morning and I was like, I don't want to get out of bed. Like this is going to be one of those days.
I understand completely. But okay, so
I know that wasn't very productive. Sorry.
No. It's good. No, I preach authenticity here at Last Mark Standing. But all right, well, as you feel now, what do you want to do? Because I feel as if we've been hearing a lot of people in our ear that are not named us regarding what we should do about not only our show, but what you and I should do as individuals in terms of this industry, be it broadcasting, wrestling, or whatever. So do you have a clearer picture now than you did earlier today about where you stand?
It goes back and forth. I mean, it's weird. If you looked at my Twitter last week, I went to All Pro Wrestling in San Francisco. You know, and every time I have a chance to, I will talk to Colt Cabana and be like, so what do you think about XYZ? I mean, he's been really successful in podcasting, and you know, he's an internet wrestling personality and he's a wrestler. I mean, he's just succeeded in a lot of the things that it seems like we're trying to do. And so I've been talking to him about my career and like where I'm going with this, and just different options and things like that. And we ended up having a really heated discussion in front of a bunch of fans because essentially he was like, you need to decide what it is you want to do. Like, if you want to be an internet person, like a podcast person, then pursue that. If you want to be in the business, then get a job in the business and pursue that. And he felt, and you know, this was really enlightening to me, that that the best route was to get a job in the business, that he didn't feel like being an internet wrestling person or podcasting or broadcasting or whatever was worthwhile. It just made me realize, you know, it's like at the end of the day, he's still pretty old school. So, you know, and it was a little shocking at first because we ended the conversation with him telling me that I was unhelpable. And just like, yeah, he was just like, you're unhelpable, and then like turned around. So I was like, okay, this is done, I guess. So, you know, and I was just like, I have no direction, apparently. You know what I mean? Like, it's apparent to somebody like Colt Cabana that I have no direction. And so I was like, I had to question myself for a minute and be like, is this true? Like, do I take this to heart? You know, what's going on? And so I did. I had a bit of a crisis for like an hour. I went to the airport immediately after the show because I was flying to Chicago to go pick up the dogs. So I had a good hour at the airport to just sort of think about it. And I came out of it thinking that he's wrong. And, you know, like we've been preaching this for a while. It's a different world. Like, you can make any career that you want these days. They can make jobs for you. And so it's like, I think it's totally possible for me to work in the business somehow and to also podcast and broadcast. And I just feel like, you know, maybe he's a little behind. Like, I just think it's a different world. I think I still have the power to do this sort of thing. And then, you know, I come back and crazy, and I'm getting back to the swing of things, and I feel like really gung-ho and 100% about what I'm trying to do. I have other stuff going on, like in the background, that you guys will find out about soon enough, like other shows and things like that I'm working with. And so it should seem crystal clear, and it did. For like the last 2 days, it seemed crystal clear. And then, you know, like today, it's just, you know, what is the point? I don't know.
Because apparently we don't matter, right? That's what one person said, that you and I don't matter, that you don't matter. So again, it goes back to the thought process of what are we doing here? I'll tell you what we're doing here. We are forming bonds with those that listen to this show, with the people that religiously give us encouragement and offer us positive vibes, pats on the back, high fives, internet hugs, things of that nature. I'm okay with that. I mean, we have a Patreon page, and we make some money doing that, but it all goes back into the brand. You know, I'm going to have t-shirts coming out, you know, Damian Salty G shirts, but I'm going to donate that back into the brand, and also a portion of my sales are going to go to charity. So, because I want to be able to give back to people that care, give back to those that encourage and motivate. And that's what we do here. but we use the modicum of wrestling to do all these things. You know, you and I motivate a lot of people, and we've gotten messages that say that, you know, that tell us that we do all this motivational stuff behind the scenes that we don't even realize we're doing. I find that to be the utmost refreshing thing I could hear, given the last 2 weeks that this country and we have gone through. You, me, and everybody else have gone through. So I guess all in all, for me, at least, I can't speak for you, but for me, that's why I got this microphone in my hand. I'm remembering why I went back into broadcasting school in the first place, because so many people were pushing me to get behind this microphone, because they feel I have a talent and a skill to be able to reach out to all of you out there, and even to my partner, to be able to pull them out of whatever malaise is getting on them, whatever issues they are struggling with, because that goes back to my history as a therapist and a counselor. Right. I am in this to reach as many people as humanly possible, love what I do, talk about stuff I'm passionate about, and have fun. And not for nothing, I have fun when I'm doing the show. I have fun with you. I have fun when I saw you a couple weeks ago. We had a lot of fun. I stuffed my face with a lot of food. That's always good. You know, by the way, the food was excellent. Just so you know, the food was great. I gained 7 pounds. Thank you, South Carolina.
Oh my God.
The minute I got back, I was doing 2 days thanks to the food down there. But yeah, so to anyone out there who's got the gall, who's got the chutzpah to even remotely give you shit for being who you are, how you are, to hell with you. I don't give a crap about what you got to say. I'll listen to you. I respect your opinion. I'm not going to agree with it. That's because that's not what I do. I don't just arbitrarily agree just because you have an opinion. You could say she doesn't matter. You could say I don't matter. In the big picture, maybe we don't. But to those, how many hundreds and thousands of people that download our podcast on a given week or month, we matter to them. And you know what? You matter to us. So that is why Last Mark Standing will not fall, because it's in the title. We're still standing. But that's why we do lastmarkstanding.com. That's why we go to these events. That's why we meet with fans. That's why we're changing what we're doing on our Patreon page. We're going to add more inclusion where it comes to Q&As. We're going to do private Google chat room, like Google, whatever this is, Google Hangouts with you guys. You know, because that's what we want to do. I want to be able to exchange ideas on a platform that's just not Twitter. You said to yourself, you have other projects going on as well. So do I. You know, I have side projects going on also. And I'm so happy and I'm so proud of everything we're doing here. And I promise you, I will get to WWE related stuff soon enough. But it's just, that's where I'm laying with all of this. That's where my soul and my spirit lies. It lies behind this microphone. It lies talking to this wonderful human being across the pond, in a sense, from me, and reaching out to all of you. Those in Great Britain, those in the States, those in other countries, over in Japan, even some people I know who listen from Australia. I do it. We do it for you. So if that helps, Trina, I am glad to be of service to not just the fans, but to my partner as well.
Oh, we're so grateful for you, Damian. Seriously. You know, it has me thinking as you're talking about this, because we are grateful for you, because, you know, not only are you a trained broadcaster, you're a mental health professional. And so as you talk about this, it makes me wonder if, like, maybe I've gotten myself into something that's like a little too deep for me, you know, because I feel like in the last 2 days coming back, I've felt like the internet's therapist. That, you know, like, and I'm not a trained professional, you know, and it's like, I know that this sort of stuff can weigh on me and like bog me down, and that's why I'm not, you know, a psychiatrist or whatever. You know, so maybe that's part of it, you know, because I'm strong enough to take, you know, like some people's burden, but I think maybe sometimes I'm not strong enough to take everybody's burden.
And that's fine. No, that's perfectly fine, because look at me. And you know, Ricky could tell you the same deal. Like, he tried to pull me out of my malaise on Saturday when we went to Evolve, and I just wasn't feeling it at all, man. I just, everything about Saturday Friday just made me feel as if I was infinitesimal. I was a speck of dust. I didn't matter in the world. Nothing I did mattered. Yo, it was one of those things where I felt like the old me, the old insecure, fat, unmotivated, cross-eyed version of myself that I was when I was a teenager. And it felt dirty. It felt alone. And that's why I felt I had to be around people that get it. And to borrow it from Chris Jericho, we need to be around those who get it and get us. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with realizing you need to lay at the feet of another human being to help pick you up. And that's what I took from Monday, and that's what I'm taking now. And that's what I'm going to take going forward. Whenever we have a topic to talk about that the people want to listen about or want us to talk about, I'm all for it. If there's something that's really weighing on the minds of the listener, bring it up to me. Bring it up to Trina. Give you guys have as much stake in this show as we do. Because we don't do it because we're going to make a lot of money. We don't do it because we want to be internet celebrities. We want to be known. We want our faces on t-shirts. I don't give a crap about that. If that happens, fine. If it doesn't, I don't care either way. Because I'm still going to get paid to do something that I love either way. Either I'm going to be a therapist or I'm going to be a radio host. So I'm going to get something out of it. I'm going to live my life on my terms. But if I can help pick you up like others have picked me up the last couple of days, then fine. Then we'll do that together as one big, happy, dysfunctional family.
Well, I think part of it too is that what's interesting is because we haven't been on air since last week, and obviously a lot of things have happened in the last week. I think I finally just felt really exhausted today.
Yep.
Just like, because considering the election, I took a very active stance on how I was going to present myself. After everything happened, because I think there was 24 hours of mourning going on in the country. Maybe it's still going on, who knows? But I was in Vietnam at the time when the elections went on, and I watched it there. They were called, I think, around like 11 or 12 noon Vietnam time. So I spent the whole morning watching what was going on, and then spent the rest of the afternoon trying to process it. And so it's just after being in Vietnam and talking to locals and talking to just other expats, like Americans who are older than me, I realized really quickly, probably within 8 to 12 hours after the elections were called, that I needed to be a little bit more adult about the situation. And so that was like, stop crying, stop like being afraid of what I think may or may not happen, and just continue to do what we do. Because whatever happens in the future, you and I have still been doing good work. Like, we're still trying to advance issues and all sorts of things. And I think like our job is just to keep doing that and to not get discouraged. And so after 12 hours of talking to locals, and specifically because Vietnam is communist, I don't know if people realize that. It just gave me a lot of perspective talking to people about the democratic process and what we should be grateful for as Americans, and then talking to older people, because I asked them, I was like, how am I supposed to process this? Like, how are you processing this? Like, I know how they voted, and so I was just like, tell me what I'm supposed to think. Like, as a person with grandchildren who's lived this life for however many years, like, how am I supposed to take this? And I just saw people who were handling a difficult situation with grace and maturity. And then, I talked to a local Vietnamese girl, and she's 23, and, she could tell I was upset. And she was just like, at the end of the day, it's still worse here in Vietnam, because she's like, it's a communist society, and we don't get the chance to choose. I mean, you guys still had the chance to choose, even though maybe it didn't go your way or whatever. And it just gave me perspective, because it's like for whatever like we think is going on in our country or something major or whatever, other countries have other things going on, and it's like they don't care about it as much as we care about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think part of the reason people were upset is like, well, what is the rest of the world gonna think about America and what it says about us as Americans and things like that. And the truth is that they don't think about it that way. I mean, everyone's got their own shit to deal with. And it's just like, you just have to move on. You know what I mean? So I feel like after talking to people, so this was probably like Wednesday after the election, I got back online and I just saw like a lot of what was going on. And I made a conscious decision to be positive, to like take positivity in and give as much out that I could. And I think I'm probably just exhausted from that. You know, like I feel like I've been so positive for like the past week, that maybe like now it's too much.
Too much positivity has made you exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. It's almost like mania, where the highs are so high that you have crashed, and now you're left with the now what? And that's what we're here for, Trina. That's what you and I are here for. The what next part. So let me just say this as your friend and someone who cares about you very much. You have always handled things, good, bad, or otherwise, with dignity and grace, and that's never been an issue. You cry, you laugh, you make others cry and laugh. So no matter what state the world is in, the one constant that we have is each other. Whatever we bring to the table that day, that hour, that minute, that may change. But who we are and who you are, that is constant deep down inside. Because we know you're a good person. We know you care about other people. We know you're passionate about what you do. We know you love your dogs. We know you love your family. We know that you're going to cry if you see a sad commercial. And you know what? I'm fine with that. It makes me smile to know that you're going to cry when you see a sad commercial. But it also makes me happy to know that you're willing to take a chop in the chest from Liz, even though sell it. I like that you can get Zack Sabre Jr. to remember you based on a karaoke conversation. The fact that Big Mike appreciates all the hard work you do. You see, and I'm not naming these names just to name drop. I'm naming these names because these are people you've touched and you've reached. New Age Insiders, that's another group that you've reached because of your quote-unquote hustle. You hustle a lot harder than a lot of the quote-unquote hustlers that we got here in New York City. So I give you all the credit in the world to be able to do that. And it's because of that dedication. It's because of that love and that fire and that passion is that you're able to just go off and do other things and to spread. Look at you. You lived in the New Japan store for like hours and like days. And it was amazing to watch you chronicle this. And I felt like we were all there with you. So think about that. Think about the fact that I know it gets exhausting to deal with all the constant slings and arrows and crap that life throws your way. But the small modicum of peace that we have doing this show and reaching out to everybody and the fact that we take them with us wherever we go, that's freaking amazing. And that's something I always want you to hold on to. Okay.
Yeah. I think, it's weird because I think it's funny because you try to be strong for a long time. And I think it's because I'm back here with you guys. Like, this is where I let my guard down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, for the past week, I've just been, trying to be positive about stuff and trying to show people that we can go on and be positive and do something productive. That's like, I haven't slowed down for a minute to really, I don't know, take a deep breath. And it's what I feel like I'm doing now.
Do you want us to take a commercial break? Do you need a minute?
No, I'm fine. I mean, I guess the end point is that tomorrow, if I wake up tomorrow, like, it could be totally different. That's how all of this works, is that like you have a time when like you just don't feel like you have purpose or you don't know what you're doing, and you just have to wait for it to pass. You have to like weather the storm. And that's how it is with podcasting and like doing wrestling internet or whatever. It's like, you know, like you had a great time at Evolve. I'm seeing a ton of my friends on Friday in St. Louis. And so it's just when I'm, you know, at home and I can't get out of bed, you know, I still try and think like, oh, I'll see like a bunch of people that I love on Friday, and I'm going to remember why I love wrestling and why I'm doing this in the first place. But sometimes it's really hard in the moment to pull yourself out of that. And so, you know, it's like you guys are just maybe catching me at a bad time or whatever. I mean, you know, like you ask me tomorrow and I'm probably going to give you a different answer. You know, like I still like love everything that I do. And, you know, it's just some days are hard, especially when we're not, you know, you and I aren't making money on this. You know, like all we have is just everybody's voices to sort of give us reinforcement. And sometimes the voices can get drowned out by like other things. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So.
Damn.
That you know, glad to be back with you guys.
Yeah, no. Like even me now, like hearing you talk and you know, I'm trying to take off my therapist hat and I'm just have my friend hat on. Like I just want to hug you, like, and give you a big old like too sweet because. You know, like if it wasn't for you, again, I tell you this a billion times, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be doing the show. I wouldn't be meeting all these people. I wouldn't be Damian Salty G, or as Chuck Colorado calls me, Damian Saltless G, which is pretty funny.
Oh.
I say I'm low salt. Like I'm on a bit of a diet, so I'm on low salt.
You're low sodium.
Yeah, I'm low sodium Damian. It's fine. But I love you all. Honestly, I love the fact that we can be our true selves with everyone here. And it's one big old, not even a kumbaya, it's just one big old Royal Rumble or Aztec warfare of just friends and family.
Feelings and like, you know, unbridled passion and whatever. Like, we don't really hold back here.
Yeah, we don't. And speaking of not holding back, I got something I got to get off my chest in terms of WWE. So if you allow me to segue really quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Survivor Series is this coming Sunday. And for those that don't know, Survivor Series is my favorite pay-per-view. I grew up on it, the big four. You know, the first one I ever saw was SummerSlam, but my favorite was Survivor Series because we were able to see these mixed match of teams. And this is again before kayfabe being broken and knowing, you know, what we know. You know, you would see Hulk Hogan teaming up with like Coco Beware, just for, you know, argument's sake, Coco Beware, Hillbilly Jim, you know, people like that. And you're thinking, how the hell are they in a feud together? You know what I mean? And just being given that platform to see these teams and, you know, to hear Howard Finkel say, and the sole survivor is, you know, it just, that used to fill me with so much anticipation. Now, here we are in 2016, and I don't give a crap about Survivor Series anymore. Maybe this year it'll be different because we have the brand extension or we have Raw versus SmackDown. And as JBL had repeatedly said on SmackDown Live this past Tuesday, it's the only time that SmackDown and Raw are going to get it on, Maggle, you know, kind of thing. So I still don't care.
I mean, you haven't been watching Raw at all,
nope,
right?
I'm still on my Raw hiatus. It's been about 8 weeks now. I do not watch Raw. I watch the expedited version on YouTube shortly thereafter it ends when I can't sleep, or on Hulu. But I do make it a habit to watch SmackDown. Right. Particularly because I love James Ellsworth, even though a lot of people are not fans of James Ellsworth. I have his t-shirt. I like the guy. He's kind of another one of my spirit animals where, you know, 14 years trying to make it in your industry and you finally do, and you feel for the person. You feel like you're on that journey with him because he looks like us. He sounds like us. He's humble like we are. You know, I mean, he don't look like me, but you get what I'm saying. I have an appreciation for AJ Styles because of you.
Yeah, right.
You know, you and your AJ Styles for the Hall of Fame spiel that I mocked incessantly earlier this year around WrestleMania season. And now it's like, wait a minute, AJ Styles is the best wrestler in the WWE for 2016. Holy crap. Trina's right. And you're right. So I do make it a habit to watch SmackDown. I'm a fan of the SmackDown Women 6. I think they all have served their purpose. I think they're all making strides. All the ladies from Carmella, down to Natty, up to Nikki being the, the female scene in the sense that she's putting over Carmella. I think that's great. I know Smart Infest is going to agree with me on this one, saying that Carmella has to go over at the end of this feud. But, I think Nikki at this point is bulletproof because she's the longest reigning Divas champion. But I'm really excited to see how the women of SmackDown Live go up against the limited Raw women's roster. Right. Paige is suspended. Summer's hurt. All we got is, the fourth person is Alicia Fox. And let's be honest, she's probably going to be the first one eliminated during that match. And I hate to say that, but I see the way Survivor Series breaking down. Team Raw's men's team is going to pull the W, in my opinion. In my estimation, SmackDown's women's team is going to pull the W. And I don't care about Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. I don't give two craps about that because it's a 39-year-old man fighting a 49-year-old man. Why the hell would I care about that?
And you were not a Goldberg mark back in the day.
No, I was not. I appreciated Goldberg. I liked that he did run roughshod over people. I liked that he beat Hogan in the Georgia Dome. I agree that it should have been on pay-per-view to maximize buys. Mm-hmm. But I was more of a DDP guy, a guy who busted his ass to get where he was, and he got success later in life. If we're going to strictly WCW, I was a DDP guy. I was a Macho Man Randy Savage after he reinvented himself in WCW guy. But I was never a Goldberg mark. In WWE, I didn't care for Goldberg when he came over. He speared The Rock, and then he did the one-man wrecking crew in the Elimination Chamber. Other than that, I didn't care. And Brock Lesnar's luster has worn off for me. So I don't give two craps about that either. So I don't care who F5s who. I don't care who spears what. I don't care if the one thing I'm going to care about is if Goldberg gets winded within the first two minutes of the match. That's going to be interesting to watch because have you seen him huff and puff just walk down to the ring? He hurt his shoulder already.
Yeah, he tweaked his shoulder. I know. Well, not, you don't watch MMA that much, but earlier this year there was Dada 5000 versus Kimbo, and that was
I saw that.
Terrible, and it's like rest in peace, Kimbo. It's like I don't like watching things because they're a freak show. That's not. It's not why I'm a fan of professional wrestling or mixed martial arts, and so. I know a lot of our friends over at New Age Insiders and a couple people are super excited for Goldberg because they were big Goldberg marks. But it's just, and I haven't caught up with anybody's podcast. It's it's a little sad to see. We talked about this probably weeks ago. Sad to see older guys struggling in the ring. So it's that has lost its luster for me because it does seem like he's too old for this.
He's too old for this ish. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, because it's one thing to have a Sting or a Ric Flair, when those guys wrestled too late into their careers, for example. These are guys who have been wrestling their whole lives. I trust them in the ring. It doesn't matter to me how old, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It doesn't matter to me that he's 60 or whatever. I trust him in the ring because he's been wrestling, for 40 years or whatever. But the thing with Goldberg is that he never, he was a athlete turned wrestler. He never necessarily was the best worker. And so, I don't know. There's a little uncertainty there. He's 49, that whether he can do this, you know what I mean? I'd take Sting at 70. I know his neck is broken, but I'd take Sting at 70 years old than I would Goldberg at 50 or 55 or 60, because I know Sting knows what he's doing.
I feel like if Goldberg and Lesnar was more of a, I don't want to say MMA fight, but just a brawl event, a no disqualification, falls count anywhere, no holds barred kind of thing, I'd be more interested that way than a standardized wrestling match. Because you're right, Goldberg was never the biggest worker.
Yeah.
Brock, you know, he has to be a little bit more safer in the ring with someone of Goldberg's advanced age. So
right.
It's like the slow molasses meets the brick wall. And what are we're supposed to, okay, after the first 2 minutes of intros and the back and forth and the huffing and the puffing and the pushing the chest out, what are we looking forward to? 3 F5s, 10 German suplexes, 4 spears, and 3 jackhammers. And I have called the match. Boom, we're done. We're done here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always just had some trouble trying to get excitement for this match. And I did watch Raw this week. I watched SmackDown this week. And yeah, it was just, you know, everybody memed Goldberg and Lesnar's faces immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just came off as a joke. And then I think with the Survivor Series matches, I did get actually kind of hyped on Monday with the face-offs and things like that. But I couldn't help but see everybody's complaints about like, oh, why would Bayley suddenly turn heel and like attack SmackDown? Like, that's just not her personality. Why would Bray fall in line and be like part of a team and all, you know, like that's hard for me to ignore, you know, like, because I haven't watched the product in the last month. And so all these changes have happened. Like suddenly Randy Orton is a Wyatt, and I'm like, what's going on? And
yeah, I saw your reaction to that. I thought that was hilarious. You were like, wait a minute, Randy Wyatt? Yeah, I mean, what's happening?
It's fine if